So we've heard this morning quite a lot about innovation in mining, the need for it, the level we're able to deliver it, the risks, the problems, and it's an area that's very relevant to Maptek. So I thought, from a technology supplier and developer point of view, it'd be really good to talk about how we've seen that work and the parameters that need to come together to get that partnership between industry and technology suppliers really optimised or in as good a shape as we've seen it. So occasionally you do hear people say that mining doesn't do technology very well. It's very old school and backwards and static in the technology area. And really, if you take a good honest look at it and look at the history of mining, that's really not true. We don't see that at all. Arguably, since the Industrial Revolution, mining and many other industries, but mining has played its part and has really done some terrific things in innovation. We've seen the application of computers, particularly in the last 30 or 40 years. We saw some great examples from Rio Tinto this morning, the Pilbara Iron Complex and the benefits they've been able to leverage from technology over that sort of period of time. Someone mentioned the canary and the underground coal mines. Unfortunately for the canary, that is innovation. The ability to innovate is there. It's just the environment and the business objectives and getting those two parameters linked together that really enables innovation. Innovation is about change. It's about doing things new ways, quite literally. Change for business equals risk. There's a change management process that needs to go on, and there's a lot of understanding, and the whole of the business needs to come together to make a change. That risk is inherent in doing change, okay? And if you're going to do innovation, you've got to be able to and willing to assume and manage some level of risk. If you're not accustomed to risk or you'd like to not deal with it, then I can recommend the insurance industry or superannuation industry perhaps. But in the mining industry and a lot of other industries, if you're going to do technological innovation, there's risks to be managed. They can be managed, okay? They can't be avoided. If you want to avoid risk, very hard to do any change, particularly with new technology. But they can certainly be managed, and we've seen plenty of examples where they get managed well and the outcomes are delivered. Where do you start from? Okay, you've got to identify what's the opportunity, what's the business improvement, or what's the business outcome for the company that needs to be achieved. Maptek produces a whole lot of different technical tools and some very cool systems that do different parts of the technical process within a business process or within a business. And they all play their part in delivering business outcomes. If you're going to start changing parts of the technical landscape or the technical ecosystem, you've got to understand, right, what is the outcome that we need to identify for the business, and understand how that's going to affect different parts of the business or the different parts of the process you're looking at. You can't address one piece in isolation, you've got to look at the whole process. And then communicate and engage, okay? So the engagement within the mining company and with the technical supplier or suppliers that you're working with needs to be understood. The change and the business outcomes you're looking for need to be understood, and everyone needs to be on board in terms of what the end point should look like. The path to get there might not be a straight line. Some technology development is not simple and needs to be needs a certain level of flexibility throughout the process. But if the end results are shared and understood, they can be delivered. So what's the best way to engage with technology suppliers? If you've got a problem or an opportunity or a new project or something that needs working on, what's the best way to engage with your technology suppliers? And I'm not just talking about Maptek, I'm talking about probably a lot of different companies here and plenty of other companies in the industry that want to help, right? Again, if the business change and the improvement in the business is understood, and you're able to articulate that from the top down, right? We've worked with many companies on particular projects, some of which are really out there R&D, new technology projects, where the objective and the motivation and the support is from the CEO down and is clearly understood and articulated consistently. That really helps, right? And we've got to do the same from our side, but that really helps in framing what it is we're trying to achieve. And then do engage with the technology suppliers. Okay, there's a vast range of different people doing all sorts of really cool, wonderful things in mining and other industries. Get us involved and ask us about it, or tell us, here's a problem, what can you do, or could you just go away and think about that, please. We really want to hear that. We love helping. This is why we do it. And often we can, or we can contribute, or at least share some knowledge. You've got to ask. You've got to tell us there's a problem, or tell us there's an opportunity to do something. You've got to tell us the details about why, or what impact it has on your business and why it is you want to do it. You've got to share some of that risk with us, right? Now that means, sometimes that means money, sometimes that just means accepting that the timeline can't be defined. It might mean that the exact technology, architecture and pathway to delivering it can't be defined. Some of innovation is dealing with unknown stuff, and work with us, right? We've got to be able to form a partnership so that we can do the collaboration, do the communication, work together, and really get involved in understanding, delivering and contributing to that business outcome, right? That's different to what you call a consulting engagement, where we have a project manager who belts us over the head if we don't meet the milestones. We've got to get a bit more involved with that and have some of that shared. So what works? Innovation requires leadership. This was mentioned a couple of times, I guess, in the session this morning, in that the motivation and the drive and the willingness and the corporate intent to do business improvement, or to find a better way or a new way to do particular tasks or particular processes. Can't be one guy in the IT department who had a good idea and he's off on his own and maybe one day he'll go all right, but that's got to be driven and understood and supported from within the business. As I said earlier, there is risks involved and they need to be recognised, so they can't be ignored. They can't always be avoided, and they need to be accepted. The way to manage that really comes down to experience and understanding of what it is you're trying to do, and the commitment to accept it and work with it. Experience comes from many years and lots of practice, that's all. The results that you get, the outcomes of whatever innovation you might do, might be a new piece of software, might be a new tunnel boring machine, could be whatever. They've got to be sustainable, right? It's got to be a solution that can be supported, operated, managed, maintained, improved in future within the business in an economical, technological, sustainable way, and something that will support the rest of whatever business process that you're working on. You don't want to end up with an orphan sort of system that everyone regrets 10 years later, that sort of thing. And trust, right? This sort of doesn't really need explaining, but if we're going to work together, we've got to understand and believe that we're both trying to achieve the same thing and working in the best ways that we can to do it. Again, our business relies on that. Most businesses do, and without it, you're really not able to push as far as you could and do as good a job as you could. From a technology development point of view, that doesn't always look really good until it's finished. Often it looks like shit. So work with us. That's it. Thank you.